They nerfed the driver. Today is December 5th, and it finally happened. To be honest, guys, we knew it was coming. Gearbox has nerfed the spiritual driver class mod for Amara. This patch is now live for me when I'm uploading this. And I'm just going to read this out real quick. So they addressed the issue where movement speed bonus with Amara's passive ability Mindfulness when buffed with spiritual driver class mod was sometimes extremely high. 210% increased movement speed high. Pretty good stuff. Mindfulness was designed with the intent that reaching maximum stacks was not easily achievable, so the bonus per grade was high. They didn't shoot themselves with the sellout. We want players to take advantage of move speed, but not to the extent where parts of the game may not function correctly. That's fair. Like Wotan. Addressed the reported issue with the spiritual driver class mod, where it is sometimes awarding damage for all types of damage, not just gun damage. So this one kind of hurts. This is how it should be. Technically, it was super fun getting crazy bonuses when we punch things, crazy damages on our dot damage. We could Nimbus one-shot any enemy in the game with the driver. It was really cool. Now, apparently, this is fixed. And today we are going to be going back in depth with the driver. We are going to be testing its damage, its movement speed, if it's still the best class mod for Amara. And I'll be answering the most asked questions I get about the driver class mod. So let's dive right into it. Boys, I'm super excited for the video today. Remember, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you're liking the content, and let's do this. Alright, here we are, guys. Look how they massacred my boy. Mindfulness is now getting 1% movement speed per rank. We're getting an increase of 1% per rank. And our shield regeneration is going to be minus 3% per rank. Now, this is something that wasn't really discussed. I was originally, I was looking at this decrease in movement speed. They decreased it by 0.4. So originally it was stacking by 1.4% per stack to get at 6 out of 5. We were getting 8.4% per stack times 25, so 210. And now it is 1%, so 6 out of 3. We're going to get movement speed by 6%. At 25 stacks, that's going to be 150. So a 60% decrease in our speed, which sucks. I enjoyed moving fast. Thought it was fun. Not the biggest thing, but something that I don't feel like we touched on very much with this patch is a huge nerf to the shield recharge delay. The shield recharge delay here now per stack is 3%, and before it was 9%. So now if we do just 3 out of 3 into Mindfulness, our shield regen delay is 8% here, when it used to be at 3 out of 3. It used to be 23%. So 3 out of 3 now is giving us minus 8% shield recharge delay at 3 out of 3 stacks, and before it was 23% per stack. Now, I personally didn't think that the shield recharge delay was too crazy broken. I really think it was just the movement speed, but they nerfed the shield regen delay a lot. To be honest, I really didn't think Mindfulness was a broken skill. I thought the scaling of Mindfulness with the driver comm was what was broken, and it giving us unintentional bonuses. I don't think that they needed to nerf Mindfulness. I don't think Mindfulness was a broken skill. The scaling with the driver was broken, and I wish they had just turned that down a little bit instead of changing this skill altogether, because in my opinion it really didn't need it. But what's done is done. Not gonna go to Reddit and cry about it. So let's go test what happened with this, with our damage. So now, right now I'm spec'd into, let's just grab this. So I have nothing on that's gonna give me bonus damage. We'll equip this. So no bonus damage on our spiritual driver class mod. We have no relics, nothing on, and the stacking of mindfulness hasn't changed. So when I do this, I'm still going to get 15 stacks of mindfulness. Now, I'll explain how to get past 25 stacks with this, because it's my most asked question that I get about this class mod. But just standing still, 880 damage with this. This is the gun we're testing with, just the Jacobs assault rifle. So 880 damage. When we're moving, we're still getting bonus damage, even at default walking speed, which is still very nice to have. Now I'm just going to show you real quick how much damage we can get at full movement speed. So 3517. Now 3517 is a 3.99 or 4 times the damage at full movement speed. So we're moving at 150% movement speed with 6 out of 3. So 6% movement speed. Get 150% movement speed. The driver scaling seems to be the same. They didn't change the scaling with our movement speed. And so that is going to give us 3517 divided by 880 is it's going to be backwards, but it's 3.99 or 4 times the amount of damage that we're doing base. Now 4 times the amount of damage is still really good. It's still really good, and still going to give us movement speed in the Wotan fight. Still going to give us bonus damage. The damage is not going to work with our dot damage. Before, for example, if I shoot myself with a fire sellout and I ran around, I was going to toast so quickly. As you can see, the dot is the same regardless of how fast I'm moving. Before, if I started running and I had a fire dot on myself, I was dead like almost instantly. So dot damage is no longer impacted by it. So we got some significant changes. Some things will probably happen to the builds. Once again, I am just starting to play around with this, and I'm going to be testing our builds and stuff more on stream. We are going to show you guys a little bit of like a Wotan run to see and compare how it is doing versus what it was before. But to answer the most asked question I get about the spiritual driver class mod is, how are you getting 25 stacks of mindfulness? And I'm getting 25 stacks of mindfulness because of anointments like this. On action skill and gain 50% bonus fire damage with weapons. So I'm going to put that on, and now we can run, and we're going to get 25 stacks. Every time. It does not matter what element this anointment is, okay? If you have one anointment on your shield or your grenade, you will get 25 stacks of mindfulness. Now, how do you get a shock dot to 25 stacks of mindfulness with the transformer? The only way to do this, and now I have a transformer on, we're using a shock dot. Gonna get stuck at 15. Now, the only reason it's at 15 right now and not like 3 or 4 is because I already have a 50% bonus corrosive damage with weapons anointment on this one. If it was just a plain transformer, it'd be hardly stacking at all. It wouldn't get to 15. Now, if I equip something else, like bonus shock damage, once again, it doesn't matter what this anointment is. It could be shock, it could be fire, it could be whatever you want. As long as it is a bonus anointment for action skill and damage on your grenade and on your shield, you will get 25 stacks with a transformer. Doesn't matter if it's fire, doesn't matter if it's corrosive, cryo, whatever you guys want. You do need to get, if you want to do a shock dot on your transformer, you do need a transformer with bonus damage on it. Right now I only have corrosive on my transformer. I haven't gotten another transformer without one. or with a different element, so that's what I've been rocking. But yeah, I hope that clears something up for you guys. Let's go play around with the driver with the recursion and see how it fares against the takedown. Hope you guys are enjoying the video so far. This is going to be a little bit of a longer one. So as we go into this takedown, there are some things I wanted to talk about. First off, with this hotfix, one of the big changes is that the takedown is now going to scale to single player difficulty if you're playing it solo, versus if you're playing it with 2 players, it'll scale to 2-player difficulty. Before, it was just 4 players. If you were, regardless of how many people you were with, it would always scale to solo. So this is a nice change for players who were struggling with it before. They'll now be able to farm this a lot easier and get their solo runs. For me, I do find it a little bit frustrating, and I think other people will find it frustrating as well. Did not have an option to do it in the 4-player difficulty, just because there's so many people, myself included, who have been struggling with this, practicing this, and putting out these runs. I've been struggling to do this on Flak as a solo player, going to be honest with you guys, in the 4-player difficulty. And now that it is going to be single-player difficulty, I'm probably going to be able to do it with Flak. And that's frustrating to me because I want to be forced to have the best build that I possibly can and figure out a way to solo this. I haven't tried it yet, but it is something that I wish they had kept the 4-player difficulty as an option. And like my runs and Jolt's Dude's run, Jolt's Dude put out a great run of the takedown shortly after mine yesterday. These runs were all done on 4-player difficulty, and now it'll be a lot easier to do it in single-player difficulty. So there's benefits and negatives there, but I just wanted to address that. Now, with the recursion here, as you can see, we're still absolutely steamrolling with the recursion. I wanted to say that the recursion is a good gun without the spiritual driver class mod. It is a better gun with the spiritual driver class mod, in my opinion, but it is by no means reliant on the spiritual driver. I have clips of using this gun before Mayhem 4 came out, absolutely destroying Slaughter Shaft with it, and I was going to make a build with it before Slaughter Shaft had even, or before Mayhem 4 had come out, but I didn't because I didn't really think it was a build, more just of a weapon showcase. And the biggest concern that I get, or complaint about the Ricochet Witch build from players, is the inconsistency of the damage, and they don't like, or don't understand, I guess, how the recursion works. That's totally fine. The biggest thing that I've seen players doing that are misusing the recursion are thinking it can do single target damage. I can't stress this enough that the recursion is not a single target weapon. It is for multiple enemies. The recursion works on other characters, but it doesn't work nearly as well on other characters as it does as Amara. That is because of her indiscriminate skill. Indiscriminate is going to stack with the recursion's already ability to ricochet between enemies. If you didn't know, indiscriminate is going to give us ricochet chance of our projectiles even more after our action skill, which is super great with phase grasping. As you can see, the damage is purely from the ricochets, and you want to be moving when you fire the recursion. You want to be moving when the projectiles are hitting to do the most damage. You don't need to kill enemies here, and the reason I'm not killing enemies is because I want there to be the most enemies possible around, so that it's the easiest to ricochet. You cannot use the recursion to kill Grave Ward. You could try, but it'll take you a really long time. And the biggest thing about the Ricochet, which I will be, now that the Spiritual Driver class mod is nerfed, I will be doing some phase Zerker builds for those of you that don't want to use the Spiritual Driver, but I can happily say that at this current moment, there is nothing that I find wrong with the Ricochet Witch build. It still performs really well, and I believe that it will have the absolute best clear times on any any build for Amara. The Recursion is a nasty, nasty weapon, especially with this build. And if you guys were worried that you wouldn't be able to perform with it, you can rest easy. It still is really good. Now this is sad. What you're watching on screen, the skip that I used to get my 728 time is no longer doable. You cannot make this jump anymore, and that's sad. But it is doable in shorter jumps. Now this is a straight diagonal jump, and I was trying it for a while and I couldn't get the diagonal jump to work. But if you look across right now, you can see that there is another platform that we can jump to. Now this jump is still doable. Now I used an EMP5 to do the jump, and I was able to do it just fine, as you'll see soon. After I messed around with this for a while of just failing over and over again, I went into my backpack to get an EMP5 that someone had sent me. Very kind of viewers to send me weapons. I once again, I do not mod. People send me items, which I don't ask for. It's very kind of them. But yeah, I'm not doing any like modding or like item creating here. So the time of 728 is going to be like, I don't know how I feel about it. Like easy to beat but hard to beat, because you can't do the skip anymore, but the takedown is also easier now. So it's an interesting one. But if you are gonna want to do this skip, you can just run straight across this platform as I'm about to do the exact same thing and get across. Now I died here because an enemy spawned and he cryoed me while I was jumping. It slowed my movement speed down, but it is doable. You are going to want to try to do this as fast as you can, right when the door opens, and get across to see if you can avoid those enemies spawning, because it is a pain in the butt. I was able to do it while they were spawned, but a lot of times they do have cryo weapons and they can stop you from getting across, which is just annoying. Luckily, I didn't think that any of them had a cryo weapon here. But yeah, guys, that was the video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. The synopsis is Mindfulness was nerfed. The spiritual driver was as well, but it wasn't nerfed to a crazy extent. The scaling just no longer works with dots, but it does still work with the recursion. It still scales off of our movement speed. It's just we have less movement speed now, so we are unable to do as much damage. But that is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it's a little bit of a longer one, but I wanted to break everything down, get my thoughts out there, and yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Peace!